Can we have a hand for คุณแพร please? Today I will be talking about eating. We have to discuss how can eating really impact us as well as impacting the world. So another, give a hand for คุณแพร once again. Thank you คุณจ๋า and thank you for the lovely artist that started a good morning for us. So any of you who are around, please join us in this discussion panel. Any of the fan clubs you would like to listen to what we're discussing, then I would like to invite you because this is something that is really related to all of us. When Kun Cha was talking about eating well, what would that impact to us as well as the earth or the world? And today I would like to first of all introduce myself, Pra Primrada. I will be the MC for this panel talk. And for today, we have a lot of panel discussion about everyday sustainability because actually sustainability is really related to us, as Kun Cha has already mentioned that today we will first start about eating well. I love eating. Do you like eating? You do as well, right? I believe that we all like eating because that's the basic pleasure. We don't only eat once a day, we eat twice a day, 3 times a day. So today we will find out how are we eating, especially for the Gen S, how can we eat as well as helping the world. On the topic of eating well for us and for the earth, I would like to invite the speaker up to meet with us. Because today in this panel talk, there's not just me, but I would like to invite our speakers, and they're all really related to food industry. May I invite Mr. พิพัฒน์พงศ์อิสระ ณ อยุธยา President and CEO ดอยคำ Food Products Company Limited. And secondly, Mr. Vichit Anathep, Managing Director, Pattaya Food Industries Limited. And the third speaker today, Mr. Sarod Putthathammawong, Executive Vice President, Marketing and Sales Industry Platform, PTT Global Chemical Public Company Limited, or GC. And I love it that we have signs, light signs for her. Is that your FC? Wow. We have signs for, and the last speaker today, as consumers, Miss Chon Rasami Ngawisuth, television news anchors and moderator, Chon Rasami and VIP. So I'd like to invite you all on stage. We will be talking on the topic of eating well for us and for the earth. We're going to discuss it casually because we just want to know how eating can really impact on our health as well as the world. And if there is an impact, how can we use that impact to benefit the world? So we're going to start with, since our panel talk, we'll be talking about eating well for us and for the earth. So this discussion is very special. Do you know why? Because all of our speakers on stage today are from various sectors. We have Doi Kam Food Products from the food manufacturing sector, from Doi Kam and Pattaya Food Industry. They will share in the aspect of the food producer and their perspective, as well as the packaging. For Mr. Sarod, can we have his signs up again, or the fan clubs? And this is from the packaging perspective, and lastly from the consumer like Kun Chon Ratsami, and as me as well, I'm the consumer as well, so we will be sharing our perspective and what we are doing and what does that impact the world. Maybe once we finish this panel, we would have an answer as to what we should do to help ourselves and the world. So before we start, I have one first question to ask the audience. This morning, what did you have for breakfast? Can we have one person to answer this question? What did you eat for breakfast? You didn't? Oh dear, are you hungry? No? Oh, that's good. So who already had the iced coffee we provide in the exhibition? Some still holding the iced coffee from Amazon. So in this one glass or one cup, what do you notice about receiving this one beverage? We can't just take the coffee in our hand. We need the cup, the packaging, the lid, and straw. We need all that so that we can have this cup of coffee. So the first thing we'll be discussing about is about packaging. So you know who's going to start? Mr. Sarod. This question is for you. I would like to know, as you are a packaging producer, and we know that all food we consume today needs packaging. We always have to buy food with the packaging. So for GC, do you have any kind of, what is the concept when you design your products or develop your products to be environmental friendly?
Thank you for the question. The first question is about packaging for food, which is called food packaging. GC has the concept of designing plastic, which is the raw material for packaging. We would take into consideration the environment, and it should meet the requirements that meet up with the trend of the world. We are concerned about decarbonization, climate change. What can we do to reduce carbon emissions? So we design the plastic that is environmentally friendly. When we think, we have to think about the whole concept. We have different kinds of different grades of plastic for many products. The first one is composable, which is bioplastic, or the plastic made from plants. In Thailand, would be from sugarcane. The advantage is it is biodegradable. When you see a cup of coffee, as Nong Prai just mentioned, the cup of coffee can be made from the plastic. And the advantage is once we finish up the drink, that can be buried underground. Please go back to the previous slide. According to the research, from week 1 to week 54, the plastic made from bioplastic can be biodegradable. So it is the whole loop, the whole circle, starting from the plant, the plastic to be used as a coffee cup, which is biodegradable. And once it is drunk, it will be buried in the soil. So this is the whole loop for bioplastic. So it's really biocircular economy. I'm so happy about this because single-use plastic is the problem that has a big impact on the environment. And this is the solution. For the plastic packaging, which may sometimes may not use bioplastic, we would use some other types like PET bottles. The PET bottles, if we have the system of waste separation, it's not going to be garbage because that can be biodegradable that can be recycled. We have the brand called Inno Envico. We would collect the PET bottles which have been used to be recycled as plastic. It's not PET bottles anymore. It's going to be called rPET. The advantage is it can reduce the use of plastic, and the qualifications would be exactly the same as PET bottles. And it would be certified by FDA, USA, Europe, and Thailand. If we go to the shop and buy a bottle of water, you can see the code that it comes from recycling products. So it should be the product of GC. No matter how much percentage, whether it's whatever percentage or 100%, this is the solution for sustainability. And finally, there's the kind of packaging that no other things can replace. GC have been trying to develop the use of plastic and the reduction of plastic in monomaterials. It means the same grade of plastic. You may not understand this, like the Fitore snack packaging. There would be many layers of film with different grades of plastic from different types of plastic. This is the problem for recycling, because we would use a lot of energy. What GC does is we try to develop plastic of the same kind to replace other types of plastic, and that is called monoplastic material. And we have the process of collection so well that this can be recycled, and this is another solution. So we can realize that the packaging for goodies that we eat every day is not only garbage, but that cannot be recycled because it contains a lot of layers of plastic, and GC has been trying to develop solutions so that we can live an easier life, and that would have less impact on the world. You see, this is just one part of packaging. We want everyone to keep this in mind, that packaging has a lot of impact to the world. But we have solutions. What can we do to reduce the impact? And then after packaging is done, we would go to the manufacturer.
Hello. So we're gonna be talking about food manufacturing. As we know, Doi Kham receive a lot of the agriculturist products, and you process into good products which is delicious and environmental friendly. But I would like to know about the process. Since the consumers are more environmental concerned, so what we have been practicing, is that enough, or do we need to improve, or do we need to innovate more? So hello to all of the audience. For Doi Kham, in the back, the drop you can see, we are talking about ice pop. This is one of our innovation, and we have received so many awards for this product. Actually, ice pop has just been launched this year, but it was developed 2 years ago. Before we can launch one product, it's not that easy. Ice pop has a lot of story behind the product. First of all, we have to use fruit juice. What happened is we used to have high demand for fruit juice, but all of a sudden the demand reduced because people say that fruit juice is not good because it's high in sugar. So what are we going to change to? The product that has become more popular is beverage that has sugar and flavoring and coloring anyway. So it's really confusing when we want to when we want to promote fruit juice, you're talking about too much sugar, but you're already consuming other beverages that has a lot of sugar containing. This is the consumer behavior. So for us, it's very difficult to predict the consumers' demand. Are they really health concerned, or are they worried about the money in their pocket? So this is something that's really difficult for us. So ice pop is one of the solutions for our fruit juice product. So we feel that fruit juice is actually not harmful, not too harmful for the children, because children needs a lot of energy. So that is why we launch ice cream. We launch fruit juice in an ice cream product. So first of all, we have to think how we're going to be able to capture the market for young consumers. So first of all, we have to design new packaging. We have to make sure that the packaging will attract the young targets. So I think that in a country like Thailand, which is very warm, ice cream should be a best solution. So we try to look for a partner. We have fruit juice. That is our strength. And we have to find someone who has the strength on producing ice cream. And this ice cream has to be transported in normal temperature. That is to reduce energy. That is one of our policy. We are trying to reduce energy. We are trying to promote green economy. So we are looking at selling ice cream products in room temperature, so that we have to try and solve transportation that we doesn't need, like freezing transportation. Then we have to find a solution to be able to sell the products without using a freezer. So it's a bit difficult because ice pop is not fully ice cream, but it's not fruit juice. So if you're looking for pop ice and you go into a supermarket, you have to ask them where we display our pop ice, because it's very different in supermarkets. We are trying to find the best place to display pop ice. And now we trying to solve the solution when consumers buy the products and take it back to have it at home. If you buy from Don Mueang and you want to take it to Lat Prao, just say Lat Prao to Aso, all ice cream will be melted, because it's so bad for the traffic as well. So this is what we have to incorporate in finding a solution. And that is how come we have developed this ice pop with Petapack paper packaging. We have these products, so we create waste. So we have to be responsible for the waste that we create. And it's not like we just have to pass on the responsibility to BMA. So for consumers who return the packaging, you will get a Bonbart voucher. It's like I call it a voucher or a coupon, which is worth 1 baht, and then you can use that to redeem. If you have 100 baht voucher, you can buy anything in Doi Kham worth 100 baht. So it doesn't mean that 1 baht from the ice pop packaging can only buy ice cream. You can buy anything in Doi Kham. This is what we call green marketing. Because sometimes when you come to a shop, they say that's 50% discount, that's 30% discount. Do you want it? Well, not really, but it's on discount, so might as well buy, and then buy it and keep it at home until it expired. So this is not the right marketing way that we're trying to promote. So this 100 baht voucher that you have, whatever you want to buy in Doi Kham, you can buy. You just have to choose the product you're really going to eat or consume. This is the new marketing. Because if we just push people to buy products that they don't really need, then that's not the right solution. So once you finish eating ice pop, you have to keep the container or the packaging, wash and clean it, and then return it to us. You get 1 baht voucher. If you get 100 baht voucher, you can buy other products like our plum. So you don't have to buy products that you don't really need just because it's on discount. So I'm going to tell you that this is the story that we started, and then the process slowly, gradually comes to the recycling, upcycling process. And lastly, if you create the waste, if you generate the waste, you have to collect it, not push that responsibility to other people. Thank you very much.
Can you please give him a round of applause? After listening, I was so thrilled. This is an idea with the whole loop. I like to share with all the audience. Once I saw the ice pop, I wonder, I said, it's a wow, because it is very concerned about the environment. No need for refrigerator or freezing, so it doesn't have to go through any process. And after listening to people today, they thought about all the whole aspects, not only one dimension, but from the very beginning to the end. And it takes into consideration we don't produce anything, but we produce a thing and garbage, so we have to think of the whole loop. You see, only one product of Doi come with more than 200 products. Please give him a round of applause once again. I almost burst into tears. This is one of the manufacturers. Let's go to another manufacturer, Pattaya Food Group. But today, P. Vichit does not come from Pattaya, right? No. I live in Samut Sakhon. The word Pattaya Food Group, people may wonder what it is. But if you think about Nautilus tuna can, you see, this is one of the product lines under Pattaya Food Group. So today, let's talk about the concept, the same as Doi Kam. What kind of concept do you have for the manufacturing? Actually, I like the ways of thinking from Doi Kam. When we think about sustainability, garbage needs to be brought back to the manufacturer to be disposed properly or to be upcycling. I think that many organizations have motivation of bringing back the garbage. As for the Pattaya Food Group, we have the concept of trying to strengthen the quality of life of consumers in terms of sustainability. We set the target that by 2032, we have to reduce carbon emissions by 75%. So we come up with many projects, starting from the use of raw materials sustainably, the use of clean energy in the plants in Samut Sakhon and the other two plants in Vietnam. We use electricity, and we also improved the production method to be more efficient and to consume less energy. And we also use APR plastic in the process of manufacturing of Pattaya Food Group. Anyway, we believe that if we want to talk about the environment, the most important thing is the consciousness of people. How can we raise people awareness of this? We work in partnership with GC in Waste for Life project by inviting our staff at the company to take back the used bottles of water. And then this would be used as the fabric to produce the uniform for our staff. You mean the staff of Pattaya Food Group use recycled outfit, right? Yes. For initially, we could collect more than 50,000 bottles. And we talked to GC that we want to increase the public awareness among people, especially the youth. We have Made for Life Project 2. We ask for collaboration from Wat Klong Kru School, which is next to Pattaya Food Group. We talked to the school director and started with Waste for Life Project 2. GC had the staff to educate students about waste separation, waste collection, and the use of waste. Students enjoyed themselves so much and invited their parents and teachers to join in the program. We could collect more than 20,000 bottles, 200,000 bottles for upcycling. And this can be transformed to sportswear for students. From the garbage that can be transformed to sportswear for students. At least this can raise awareness among the youth, among young generation. Actually, they have questions about how the bottles of water can be transformed to sportswear. Me too, because I kept wondering how this can be transformed. It has to go through the process, right? Yes. There's the process of converting plastic into fabric. Actually, we can do a lot of things. In addition to the sportswear, after talking to GC, this can be transformed to many other things as well. So recycling bottles, when we think about just throw them away, this actually can create value and reduce impact to the environment. As Doi Kam thought about how can we bring back the bottles, we need to have some method to motivate people to bring back the used bottles so that they would be disposed properly, or they could be used or produced to be something useful. This is the perspective of the manufacturer. Can you notice that what P. Vichit just said is not about the manufacturing of canned tuna, but in the process, they take into consideration the environment, and S, the activities with communities, and G for governance. This is the whole loop of ESG in all dimensions. So this is part of the manufacturers that talk to us. What do you think? Manufacturing, packaging, and then consumers, right? Yes. The two hungry people. Actually, I enjoy eating, and she said she enjoys eating too, but we have not eaten anything together yet. I'm asking you the question, as you enjoy eating, so we can go on another session, but for now, Pitip, from the perspective of consumer, what do you think about how to eat? When we say that we should eat well, that is good for the world as well.
So first of all, I would like to say hi to all, and thanks to GC to invite me to join this panel talk. You're probably quite familiar with me as a moderator, but I have rarely be guest speaker in any events. So this is a very good occasion and great opportunities. I don't have any light signs like Kun Nong, like Mr. Sarod. Why don't have any signs for me? Next time I have to bring my fan club. Next time if I come to GC, I have to bring my people. I have to bring my fan club. In your application, if you have an app to put signs up. So regarding eating, I'm actually quite surprised when I was invited, because I'm not completely green consumer. I'm just a general individual who enjoy eating. I have hashtag in my Instagram that rely on me on any eating aspects. You've got your light signs now. Next for me. So I have a hashtag เรื่องกินไว้ใจทิปปี้ means trust me about food. So I like to go eat in different places. Wherever they say it's good, I always go. So whenever anybody meets me, they'll ask me, how do you eat? Because you eat so much, but how come you don't gain any weight? This is a very common question that I get. You really eat it? you eat and you like spit it out because you eat so much but you don't gain any weight. I don't have a good or better metabolism because for my age I'm over 40 as well. But when the reason that I eat but still manage to maintain my weight is because, first of all, I have a technique. When you see me eat, it looks like I'm eating a lot, but I always remind myself that we have to do everything in moderation or have a balance on everything I do. And I think it's good for the world, good for us, is enough. The word enough, it might sound like a very simple word, but it's a good tip or technique in using in our daily life, especially about eating. When you see me eat in TV shows, but I don't even remember when was the last time I had buffets. Probably like 10-20 years ago. The last time I remember having buffet is like going with the team. But for me, I don't eat buffet. I have to ask for the consumers, what's wrong with buffet? There's nothing wrong with buffet, and it's a kind of a marketing campaign. But for me, I feel that it's not my lifestyle. It doesn't suit me because when you go to buffet, you started off with how much are you going to pay and how are you going to eat to make that really worth the money you're paying. So you have to eat a lot, and actually it's too much. I think we should eat with the word enough in mind. So eat just until we feel full, and that's just enough. We can eat variety of food, we can choose to eat a lot of things, but we don't eat too much, we don't stuff ourselves. So I think this is my lifestyle. And if we eat and there's food left, I pack it back home. And I've been doing this a long time. People might think that, how come you're so stingy packing leftover food home? But for me, I feel that if I can still eat it, then why not? I don't collect all food waste, but if there's a substantial amount enough for I can take home, then why not? And whether I go to a fancy restaurant or a normal restaurant, I always, if the restaurant allow me to pack or take away, I do it. That's my habit, and that has always been what I do. I never leave food, and when we have a lot of food, I share it. That's me. If I have a lot of good food, nice food, I share it. When we share it, there's nothing left because we share it to other people. So this is one of the things I do so that I can be, as a consumer, this is what I do. Or when we talk about plastic bottles that can be recycled or upcycling, there's also other businesses that do generate waste. But if we are able to use those waste by recycling, upcycling, we should do that. So I try to keep that in mind. Like I have Tupperware or containers or tumblers. I have everything with me. So when you see me, I always come with a tumbler, and I don't do that just for the fashion, but that is my way of life, and I'm happy. I'm also a plant-based consumer once a week, and that I have been doing for 15 years. And some week I would do 2 days plant-based, but at least 1 day a week that I will not eat any meat. So that kind of helped me, and I choose something very simple to eat. So this is what I've been doing for 15 years. You were saying that when you have food left, you take it home. I think this is a very easy and simple solution because I think 60% of the waste are food waste, and it's really impact the world. So this is a one very easy, simple lifestyle that we can do. Whenever we have food left over, we just have to take it home. So I want to know what triggered you to change. So my changing point is probably when I had COVID about 3 years ago. And during that time changed many things. It changed my mindset. many things stopped. Many things was unable when my body was weak and I couldn't eat anything. So I start to eat less. So then I question myself, why do I have to eat a lot? Would that really make me healthy? And all the things I've been eating, then I still get sick again. And when I get sick, I eat very little, and that made me realize that actually I don't need that much food I've been consuming. I don't need to eat a lot of food. I just need enough just to maintain my health, and that is what I realized during I had COVID. And I felt that okay, that is enough. So that's the word that I always use, enough, that I use in everything in my lifestyle. Once somebody taught me that people who eat a lot equals people who eat less, and people who eat less equals eat more. So when he told me that event is actually the speech of Zhou Suotanin. He eat very little, and I was surprised why he eats so little, and when there's so much food in front of us. And he said that eating little equals eating more, and eating more equals eating less, because if you eat more, your age will be shorter. So at the end, you eat less. But if you eat less, in moderation, you will have long living and you'll be able to eat more. So when I listened to him, I thought, oh, well, that is a good philosophy. If we eat everything and stuff everything in, it's actually not good for our health. I like eating. I eat variety of food, but I eat in moderation. So if one day I have to go and meet my client, I have to eat a bit more. The next day, I would try to reduce the food. So I'm just trying to build a balance. There's no one single bullet, silver bullet, or a single solution, but we have to adjust and adapt. So if today we have to eat more, tomorrow we eat less. Try to build that kind of balance. So that is why people see me, how come, you look like you're eating so much, you have such good metabolism? No, that's not right. It's just how I adjust myself, try to build a balance. When I eat more, next day I eat less, and if I eat less, I try to gradually make it more. Always maintain balance. So simply say you always stay in the middle lane. Yes, that's right. That's actually very clear, because there's no one single silver bullet to solve every problem, and each people have different way, different solution. You can't use somebody else's solution and apply it to you directly. You have to apply it and try to adjust. So what Kuntip has given us today is like a guideline, and we have to try and stay in that guideline but adapt it so that we would be able to build that balance. My concept is that we have to be content without affecting ourselves or affecting other people, and that's my concept. So that's what everybody can use. So this is from Kuntip as the consumer. Now we're coming back to the business sector. We have already learned that everybody have a great process to produce products, but we have to admit that the world has changed so much. There's the environmental aspect that has been added in. I don't want to use the word trend, because actually trend comes and go, but for environment, maybe we cannot call it trend, because once it's here, it will never go. It will just get worse and worse. So what we have to do is, we all in this world, we have to put environment in everything we do. So for the business sector, I think environment has to be a big concern more than just the consumers. How do you adjust in your business? So for what is happening in the environment, can I start with Mr. Sarod?
GC actually adopts the concept of ESG for many years, because we have a good understanding and have awareness of how to cope with the environment, which, as Nong Prat just said, the environment nowadays has changed dramatically, especially for climate. Sometimes it rains a lot, and sometimes it's so dry. The weather is getting more intense. So we have to live with this kind of weather or climate. In many countries have issued measures, like Europe. Europe is the continent that aims to be net zero. It's going to be the first continent to be net zero by 2025. It means that what's going to happen is the regulations in many big countries would be implemented in the business sector in terms of producing products, especially with an aim to reduce carbon emissions in the air. This is not the trend, but it's going to happen no matter whether you like it or not. You have to live with it, and you have to find ways to adjust yourself to run business continuously. As Pattaya or Doikam would be talking about the strategies about how to run business to cope with this. As we have to cope with this, in my opinion, it has to start with a small point. We have to start from our own selves. We have to be aware of this. GE has been trying to promote Gen S. That means sustainability. It's nothing about age or generation, but Generation S is what we can choose to be. We can adjust the ways of thinking and the ways of living to be in ordinary manner by considering the environment and the impact on the environment in any activities that we do, and try to do it in a normal way. So this is going to reduce the impact and help better the society and the environment. And in the big picture, in organizations, in business sector, GC cannot do this alone. And I believe that no organizations can do this alone. We need collaboration. We have activities working in partnership with our allies like Pattaya Food Group and many other companies to help, because plastic, as Pipong said, plastic, if it is used and disposed, it's going to cause trouble. But if we can collect used plastic, and then we can handle the recycling to be used later. But the country would dispose garbage in the river, but we are among the top countries of this problem. But we have many problems, as P. Vichit said, for the activities by Pattaya Food Group. This is an example that can be strengthened to other groups. As you can see in the pictures, our collaboration with Chulalongkorn University in the next slide. And we have activities with the canteen in Chulalongkorn University with waste separation bin. This is an important mechanism for food or waste separation so that it would be easier to be recycled. You talk about your collaboration with Chula for Zero Waste. What is it about? We start with, this is about collecting garbage. Consumers, personnel at Chulalongkorn University, when they drink coffee or eat anything, usually the waste in Chulalongkorn University would be bioplastic. If it's plastic bottles of water, that can be recycled. If it's a coffee cup or straw, it's bioplastic that can be buried under the soil, and that can be produced as fertilizer. GC is the supplier of product for bioplastic. We have brand NGO under the brand of GC. It is the plastic that can be produced as the cup. In the past, it was ordinary plastic, but with bioplastic, the film of plastic and paper can be recycled. So this is the whole loop. So GC has come up with the whole loop of this. And if we can do this, if we can follow this step, we can reduce garbage. And we also have U-turn project initiated by GC, like Doikam. We produce plastic. We have the process of collecting plastic. We would ask consumer to dispose the bottles of water, and then we can dispose them properly. We have to work in collaboration with organizations. This should be implemented in the normal ways of our life to better the society and the environment. Can you please give a loud applause? Because each answer is not a trend. You cannot avoid it. You have to live with it. This is all true. This is part of what GC has been thinking about. And then who's next? Pipong, any ideas about the challenges at present?
So when we do business, whatever business it is, consumers is the most important voice that we have to listen to. So in order to succeed, first of all, we have to listen to our consumers, what they want. And another important aspect is sincerity. We have to be very sincere to the consumers and to the farmers, to our clients, to our partners, staff. We have to be very sincere to them. Whatever we say, we have to keep our promise. For example, we have one model that we called charity starts at our house or our home. So when we donate anything, we have to start it in our own home. So when we are going to donate something, we have to look back at ourselves, look back at our staff first, ensure that everybody in our organization has a good quality of life. Are we being fair to them? Secondly, we have to look at the farmers, look at our suppliers and partners. Are we being fair to them? Are they being treated fairly? When we buy the raw materials from them, for example, if you buy tomatoes, if it's 3 baht per kilograms, we buy 3 baht 10 satang. But we also support them with conditions that don't bring rotted tomato to us. And if you provide us with best tomato, we will give you 3 baht 10 satang. But if you bring bad produce, rotten produce, we will deduct it according to the proportion of the bad quality products you supply. So for some places, they really need the products, and if they get bad products, sometimes they take it because they really need the products. But for us, if you send us bad products, if you send us 10% of bad products, then we deduct 10%. But if you send us 100% of good products, you get 3 baht 10 satang. We also go for field visits to the farms to teach them how to use fertilizers, how to use chemicals. We have experts who would help the farmers, educate them on how to practice better farming and generate more yield per rai. They have less farmers and there are limited space. So in that limited space, from before you get 3 tons per rai, you have to increase it to 15 tons per rai, and it has to go up to 30 tons per rai. Like in Israel, I've visited Israel and they really managed to generate huge yield. I mean, in Thailand, you do 3 tons and you're so happy, but in Israel, they managed to produce much more. So these are the case studies that we try to learn from. And after that, we have to work with the consumers. Once we have good raw materials, it ensures that the end product will be good quality as well. During one period when the oil was going really high, I think it's about 4 to 5 years ago, the price of everything went up. I think GC probably remembers as well that it skyrocketed. And when the fuel reduce, we also reduce the price of our product in accordance to what we have risen. And we hope that that would be a good sample to other manufacturers, but nobody followed us. Nobody reduced the price. We were the only company that reduced the price. So this is something that I think that, okay, once your raw materials increase, like the oil increase, you have to increase the price. But when it comes down, you have to be sincere enough to reduce that price, and they should get the benefit from the price that has come down. So that is how we are being fair to the consumers. Next, fair to the environment. So many things we have done, like for the packaging, they return to us, we segregate the waste, and then we change it to plastic pallet, and we're trying to do more research. Maybe GC can help with us. I really need help. When we separate from Tetra Pak, we get about 50 million, and then I don't know, other suppliers or manufacturers, they get more. If we can replace these plastic pallets with the plastics, we might be able to reduce a lot of cuttings the forest, and we would have a more rich forest. And this is what we are doing as a research process. We are still working on it, but it's not good enough. This plastic is just like the coating, and the weight is still too much for us to use as a container. So these are the factors that we are trying to find a partner who can help us find the best solution using like UHT cartridge and recycle that. I think that might help reduce global warming. This is something that maybe some of you can help. For Doi Kham, we take the packaging and we recycle the packaging, and what we get from this packaging, we use it as flooring for our Krung Kaben park walkway. And this platform has no problem when it get in contact with salted water, because normal wood, it rots when it gets salted water from the sea, but this recycled material is very durable. So actually, all these products, we should do a better research, maybe working with GC. I don't know whether you have any experts doing this kind of research. Maybe we can work together and go forward on all these processes, hoping that we might be able to reduce GHG emission, and we might be able to achieve our goal, or maybe achieve when I become 100 years old, when they're saying that the aim is to have net zero emission. I would be exactly 100 years old, and I'm hoping to live that long and celebrate that. Thank you.
Please give a round of applause to all the speakers. GC, they have been trying to deal with each other. Excuse me, it's like flirting around on the stage. What? We'll ask our team to take notes of what all the speakers are talking about. Plastic that is hard to be recycled has solutions. We can process the plastic. If we tour around the exhibition, we can see that some plastic cannot be recycled or biodegradable, but we have product solution center that where we can develop together with our clients using some design or decoration. As Pipong mentioned, we have the prototype of producing plastic that is not for biodegradable, but we use artificial wood. It's not too difficult because our team of researchers are excellent. Foreigners come for a study visit here at GC, and they can see that our researchers are all capable. Thank you so much. My pleasure, because I really want to do it. For the pallets in Thailand, in all the factories in Thailand, if this can be used, it would be advantages. It would be advantages to the environment. I like it because all these organizations have been dealing with each other for more collaboration. And next, let's talk to one of our producer. What are the challenges nowadays for Pattaya Food Group? We use a lot of pallets. I like it the way that they are trying to deal with each other. Can we ask for more pallets? Actually, in the past 2 years, in the past few years, it was quite challenging for us. Today's world is under the uncertainty which happens so quickly and changes so quickly. We talk to our people about how to adjust ourselves. We cannot be indifferent to the change. We have to cope with the changing situation. We thought that we should do it step by step. We cannot make a swift change immediately. In terms of business, we have to think about the revenue to support the business. Some products, which are ordinary products or current products, those would be manufactured to bring back revenue for our company for that can support for the sustainability project later on. I think that if we gradually add value to our products, at some point in the future, we will be ready and it's going to have an impact on long-term business. Before coming on the stage, I talked to Kun Sarod. EU is about to adopt the measures by 2050 for net zero. People are getting more aware of this. Many governments in many countries are interested in this issue. Regulations have been issued to take control of the products. So I think that if we start from today by adding value to their products, at some point in the future, we will be ready by 100%. I know that Pattaya has the target of reduced carbon emissions, right? At present, by BE 2075, by 2075, it's going to reduce carbon emissions by 50%, right? Yes. What are the processes? The first process that we have been working on is we have to know that nowadays how much percentage of carbon emission has been issued so that we can know the real figure to achieve in the first step. After we know how much percentage of carbon emissions we have, we can know which activities have a lot of carbon emissions, and then we will initiate the products to reduce carbon emissions, for example, by using fuel. Nowadays, we use coal, and we start to use the energy, circular energy. We may not think about something like in terms of transportation or logistics. When we talk about carbon emissions in the process of manufacturing, we even talk about how our employees come to work, how much carbon emission has been issued when employees come to work for their transportation or using carpool. It has some effect. When we talk about logistics, we would think about logistics for delivery of products, but we think about all the activities for transportation and logistics with the emission of carbon. So any companies would have to face this, right? Yes. So we have to adjust ourselves. The world is changing. Otherwise, we cannot survive. So this is one of the activities that Pattaya Food Group has been trying to adjust themselves. How can you communicate this to the consumers? Are you asking me? Oh yeah. No, we are still in this question. In terms of the awareness, actually, when we think that people will be aware when they know that it's going to have an impact on them, so that they would change their behavior. As Kun Saro just said, the world nowadays, the climate has changed. Natural disasters are getting more serious. I think that all these are going to impact the lives of people in the future to some extent. When they are aware of the impact on themselves, then they are going to change their behavior. In the past, according to the survey of consumer behavior, we are concerned about the environment, but the activities to promote the world environmental conservation is still less. But nowadays, more people are getting more conscious and more concerned about the products that are environmentally friendly. We have to try to communicate with consumers about why we make a change and what will the change going to affect them. Like buying 2 cans of Nautilus can save 2 trees, for example. So after this calculation, consumer can know how they can support all those activities. Oh, really? This is just an example. You can buy 2 cans of tuna. Usually, I buy tuna in salt. It's a middle way for us. So this is one way of adjusting ourselves for Pattaya Food Group. Can you see now that the business sector has changed? They know that consumer behavior has changed. So the corporate sector, business sector has been trying to adjust themselves as well. This is from the aspect of manufacturer, packaging. What about consumers? P-tip, what are the challenges? As you are an influencer, do you have any ways, like I myself has my own way that will cause less impact on the environment? How do you communicate with other people? As I just talked to you and other people, I myself said that enough is good for me. When anyone asks me, I would share my ideas about how I can enjoy myself, to be happy with my eating. That is good for myself and it's not going to cause any trouble to others. When I eat anything, I would not think about just eating something deliciously, but I can learn and have more experience. The trend of eating and cooking for the chef worldwide have changed so much from the past. In the past, when we said that the food was delicious, good food, we would think about food that is rare, going to the ocean or something sophisticated, something that is rare in the mountains. We would think that it is expensive and it is of good quality. But nowadays, this has changed. When we see restaurants in Thailand, I have one favorite restaurant, Pru restaurant in Phuket. The concept of Pru restaurant is using raw materials from the locality, organic food in the local area. And that can be produced as food, which is delicious around them. This is what I am quite impressed with because it's once in a lifetime experience. I got a chance to eat at Noma restaurant. It is the world's best restaurant. It is ranked as world's best restaurant because this is the ranking by the diners in England, and they voted Noma restaurant in Denmark, which is in the business for 20 years. It has been voted as the world's best restaurant for 5 times. When we eat at the world's best restaurant, we can see what kind of food is served, what is the concept of that restaurant. Noma has the concept of serving food according to the season. They would know the raw materials. in that particular season, with 3 seasons: vegetable, sea, ocean, and land. When I ate at this restaurant Noma, it was the season of vegetables. All the food came from trees, flowers planted around the restaurant. When I went to that restaurant, all the food comes from what they grow in the glass house. All those plants are in the dishes. The flowers, no meat at all. So we have to think about without any meat, is it going to be delicious? They used R&D team to conduct research and draw the flavor of all delicious food without being processed in a sophisticated manner. It is cooked in a simple way. They have to try to understand the ingredients in the dishes, and they show us the process of cooking, the concept, where does the concept come from. It takes even more time than growing the plants. They have to think about how to cook the food to be delicious and to still maintain the ecological system using the products in the local area. I was quite impressed because the food does not need to be sophisticated. It is the food from according to the season in the local area without the need for transportation. Because if we need the raw materials from far away, it would require logistics. However, this nomad restaurant use the products, the materials in the local area. Farmers would grow the plants and they can generate revenue. I can see that many restaurants have adopted this concept of getting the raw materials from the local area. The soil, the water in that area can cook something that is delicious without the need to trouble anyone. This is the concept that is simple, and people can still enjoy the food that they are eating. Yes, this is good. One question that I can come up with is, how can you reserve that restaurant? It's very difficult to eat at that restaurant. I heard that this restaurant is going to be closed. It's quite good timing for me because I'm in the field of food. No, you are just lucky. And I just heard what Pitip just said. All our actions have an impact on the world. And I heard the word carbon footprint. I would confirm that all our actions, no matter what we do, we create carbon footprint in the world. What Pitip said about all the process of cooking or the raw material on the food has an impact on the environment. And this Noma restaurant has the concept, has shown the example of the impact on the society and the world and environment. We just talk about the concept of each company and how we can adjust ourselves to nowadays. When we talk about eating, it has an impact on the world. In which way? How true is it? Starting from Pisarot, please.
So as we see that eating is our main activity, we have to eat. But how are we going to choose the food, which is what we're discussing today? For me, I think the start should start with ourselves. We should choose the food that we should eat and do not generate a lot of food waste. And if we have leftovers, what are we going to do with it? If we don't start with ourselves, not starting at home, then the problems will just accumulate and it will just become a habit that we're used to. Like, for example, for my house, we try to become a zero waste house in terms of food waste, zero food waste. So the we would try to cook food just enough for us, and if there's any leftover, we would do according to what we did with July canteen. So we have a compost bucket that we put all the food waste in. Any food left from eating, we put in this compost bucket. And we're not buying anything fancy. It's just a very plain plastic bucket. And it has like a rotation to mix all the food waste and just leave it. And in maximum 2 months, we get organic compost that we can use in the garden to plant trees. And for the plastics that we use, we ordered a lot of delivery food. So we get a lot of plastic. If possible, we should separate them. For example, single-use plastics bag, like plastic wraps. So what we do in my house is I separate all the plastic bottles, and even packagings that are not plastics, like cans, aluminum cans. And what happens is that we found that from starting in my house, we managed to reduce significantly the amount of waste that we put in our black bag for the Bangkok BMA to collect. And then we put all the waste that we have segregated for the organization that collects them. So I would like to ask Bangkok that BMA that we should have to work together. So if as consumers we segregate waste, you as a collector have to keep it separated as well, not just put it all together, because otherwise it just ruins our intention and it just end at the dump site altogether again, and it would just become more problem, and it would not be an efficient way of managing waste. And I would like to ask all organizations involved, partners, organizations that are involved, what we are doing, we have to do it together. Start from our house, start from our home, in our organization, and expand that in a bigger, broader collaboration. Make it something very normal, something we do. Make it a habit that we do. Like for example, collect waste, separate waste. Anything that can be degraded, then that's fine. What can be recycled has to be recycled. If we all work together, we'll be able to create a very economical economy, reduce the logistics, reduce transportation, reduce the energy used. So I think it's a broader way of working together in collaboration. And so I would like to also promote Gen S. We all have to become Gen S. So we have to be aware of the impact we might be able to reduce, what we can do to reduce those impacts. We have to put more concern to our environment. Although we are a company in the energy sector, but we want to see an efficient way of energy consumption. And for plastic use, how can we use those plastics? But at the end, we have to understand how to separate them, choose the kind of plastics we should and should not use. If we go into, like, for example, supermarket, and we look at the packaging and you see GC compostable, choose that product because it's bioplastic. And you can throw those kind of packaging away because that doesn't take hundreds of years to degrade it. It takes about 1 year only. So I think this is something easy that we can all do. Just change our mindset a bit. Just change what we do in our daily life a bit. That will already help. And that's the perspective from GC. Can I continue with Kun Pong? Kun Pong should start. You should. In your perspective, how can we eat well to help the world? So for me, how can we eat to help the world? So maybe I should tell this story. I am from a boarding school, and when we eat in a big group, and the teacher who looks after us is already 80 years old. I went in when I was in grade 3. In my dish, there was only 2 grains of rice left. I was punished for that because we were taught that every grain of rice is very valuable. But now I see kids nowadays, I don't know whether they're Gen S, but the way they eat, it's like, like a cat when they eat rice and it's scattered everywhere in the dish. I just don't understand why you have to eat like that, scattering all the rice grain around the dishes. I think that shows something. Like in Doi Kam, we treat lunch for all the staff, and the staff can eat as much as they want, but they have to know how much they're actually going to eat. That's for the rice, and if it's not enough, you can refill your plate. But the only condition is, if you don't finish your rice, you'll get 35 baht fine. So you mean you don't charge for the rice, but you charge if they leave any? Yes, that's right. We collect 35 baht if they leave anything. Because this is how we're going to raise awareness to them, but that they should know and understand how much they're going to eat. Not just bring the food and then you take out the basil leaf and you don't eat the any kind of herbs. And you don't eat the pepper. Those are all good herbs that helps stimulate your digestion in your stomach, but you leave it all out. So I don't know what they actually eat, and then they say that they want to eat good food, they want to eat healthy food, but McDonald's, they finish the entire burger. But Thai food, they just pick out all the vegetable, pick out all the herbs. I think this is something that we should question ourselves. Actually, Thai food is very, very good in terms of health-wise, but you take out and pick out all the good parts of the Thai food, and this is what I want to emphasize. So in terms of Thai food for your health, everybody say that you want to eat good food, you want to eat food that is good for your health, but you consume a lot of food with a lot of fat, like A5 Wagyu. That's a lot of fat in there. But when you see Thai curry with beef that is less fat, you say, oh no, that's chewy. This is what really happens. And for how you do your daily life, like for me, I go shopping myself. I go to the fresh market. It's not supermarket, I just go to fresh market. I tell them I want cumin. They just put cumin in the plastic bag, and I say no, I don't want that. I just want the cumin, but not the plastic bag. Then I go to the next. I say I want a long bean. They put in huge bag. Then I say I want cucumber. They put cucumber, which is already in a bag, into another plastic bag. I said no, that's not necessary. I want to ask that we should start with ourselves. Whatever we do, solve it and start with ourselves. We have to become a good example, show to other people how we can do it well. When I go to the fresh market, I go with an aim that I have to generate as little single-use plastic bag as possible. And then, for example, if I need to take any plastic bag, once we use, I wash those plastic bags, like plastic bag that I use for putting in my curry, I wash it. And then people who collect it, they can recycle it. If it's dirty plastics, then they cannot recycle it. So I want to say that everything starts with ourselves. Don't point out to other people. You have to point into yourself. You ask yourself, have you started? Have you become a good sample? If you think that you want to teach other people in your house, you have to start with yourself first. If you're going to teach your employee, you have to be a good role model first. When I eat lunch in the office, you can ask the people, if there's anything left in my dish, I pay the 35 baht fine. So everything has to start with ourselves first. Then we can extend it to other people. So when you go out for lunch today, don't forget, finish your dish. Something that you don't eat, just tell them, don't put it in. Because if you still leave it in the middle dish, other people can still eat it. But if you put it in your own dish already, nobody can eat it. So that's what I want to leave today.
This is another perspective from Pipong. When you talk about something, somebody is smiling, it's easy for recycling. This is a small thing that is going to have a big impact, but you may not know about this before. One more person, P. Wichit, please. I used to get away the thing that I don't like, but I will not do that anymore. When we talk about eating with regard to sustainability, how can we interpret the word sustainability? In my opinion, sustainability means the least trouble to natural resources so that the natural resources can be passed on to the young generation. Actually, staff at Pattaya Food Group has 3 types of eating or 3 gore. We would think about first, our health is the most important thing. We have to eat something nutritious and healthy for our health. When we are physically and mentally healthy, we can do other activities to the full extent. The second one is how should we eat to have the least food waste? Actually, food waste, the buffet is one thing that we think we should adjust the way of eating buffet to focus more on diversity. Because when we go eat buffet, we can eat anything in the buffet, but we should not focus on the quantity. And the last thing is eating optional protein from plant-based protein, because the meat from different animals comes from farming or livestock that leads to methane causes and greenhouse effects. So eating plant-based protein is another option so that the food waste would be less, and then we can eat with more value. And then let's go back to the word Gen S, because I'm very happy that we have Gen S, because I tried to be in the same generation as teenagers for many years so that we can live and be in the same generation as teenagers. I think that we can see the change and the impact on the world in many areas, and it is all clear about the natural disasters. I would like to invite all Gen S members to start taking care of the world. What we have to take into consideration if we don't start today, think about how the next generation is going to live their lives. It's not going to be in the perfect condition as we are at present. We may start from today at some small point, because we need to have the first step, and it's going to cause good impact on the next generation. When we think about quality food, please think about Nautilus products, because it's the product caring for the world. Thank you. After listening to the manufacturers for food manufacturing, what about consumers? We can make it simple. We should live with the nature. What Pipong said is so touching in many ways. I think that Thai food, although I eat in many countries around the world, Thai food is the best and most suitable for Thai people, because eating according to the season and according to what the locality has is the most appropriate, because when we eat according to season in summer or winter, that kind of food can help us to prevent us from illness. For example, in the rainy season, ancient people would say that if we eat gang som dok khair, this can prevent the fever. It means that from rainy season to winter, there would be a lot of dok khair and we can cook gang som dok khair to help cope with the changing of the weather or the season. This is what people in the past talked about. In the rainy season, everything is all humid, so we should try to eat something to prevent us from the fever. If we don't go beyond what we should according to the season, I believe that everyone on the earth is important. If we are healthy and if we don't get sick, we can do something good, and this can help the world. Actually, we come back to a simple way of living and living with the nature. This is the best solution. This is a good concept. So this is what we talk about today. Actually, this session, from the question that we talk about eating, our eating well would be good for us and the world. Is that true? And this is the very end of the session. I think that you all should have the answer already. Eating has some impact to the world to some extent. So let's come back to our own selves. From what the speakers said, we can choose what to eat. GC, Pattaya Food Group, Doi Kam are all trying to prepare themselves. And now come back to consumers. If how we want the world to be like. The power is in our hands. The decision is upon us. So this is a clearer picture of what we want to see. Thank you so much to all the speakers. May I say something? Let me take this opportunity to promote something. If you are a Doi Kam customer, please raise your hand. Please don't forget about peeling off, washing, and collecting. Please, if anything does not belong to Doi Kam, we would accept that because we want to help the society. We would bring back the waste for recycling. But if it is the product of Doi Kam, we will give you a coupon of 1 baht. Any product can, after you use, eat, and clean, you can take back the garbage from those products to us for recycling. And next year, I'm going to work in collaboration with BTS Payathai Sky Train Station to be green station. Anyone who brings the bottles to the 3rd floor of Payathai Sky Train Station, we would have Doi Kam people to collect the garbage. And it's going to be the green station, and we will do everything for keeping, cleaning, and collecting the product to us. And we would have the exhibition of the science from the King for Sustainable Development, so that we can see what the King has taught us and how we can implement that. We want Thai people to support for this. We are working on this project, which is going to be launched for the 30th anniversary of Doi Kam, to show you that green station can be made possible to help the society. If GC is interested to join us, we would be more than willing to accept you as our ally. Thank you so much for your attention. Please give a loud applause to all the speakers. They have just dealt with each other on the new project. And this is another voice from Doi Kam to show that this is the adjustment of the food sector. So it's on us to see and choose what is best for the environment. Thank you once again to all the speakers who share your ideas and experience with us. Please give them a loud applause. On this occasion, I would like every one of you, of the speakers, please take a rest, and we can talk later on the ground. And before we move to the next session, our staff just said that we are going to show the QR code. This is the survey. GC and the organizer would like to know your comments about today about the event. What are you impressed with, or what you can see that can be used to adjust your ways of living? How do you feel about the exhibition? You can talk to GC by scanning the QR code and share your comments. After the end of the exhibition, you can go to this QR code and present your comments directly. And now time is up for my session, for the first session. As I said from the beginning, we had a discussion all day long for everyday sustainability, because sustainability is something even closer to us than what you have expected before. The next session is how to live sustainably, how to have sustainable living in the second session, and the last session, low carbon tourism. What is it like? So please stay tuned for all day. And now time is up for my role. Thank you so much. Goodbye.